Welcome back. My name is Lexi Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury makeup and Fude brushes. Today, we're going to have a quick segment on the Beautylish Lunar New Year brushes. Now, these are currently both sold out. Last year, there was a small restock closer to the actual Lunar New Year day. So let's hope that that's going to happen again this year. I really have no idea, but I want to share these with you now just in case they do get restocked. Before we get started, I just wanted to mention that tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be on Just Glow Firefly's channel for a live talking all about brushes. So if you have any questions or anything, please come check it out. It's going to be me, Just Glow Firefly, of course, and All Feisty. So the three of us are going to be chatting about brushes. So please join us, or if you can't make it, try to catch the replay. We're gonna first start off with this brush. This is the first one that was released by Beautylish. This one is a Koyudo brush, and you can see it does have the Koyudo logo on it. And this is the Akabeko brush. And this design here is actually done with Raiden. So it's crushed like shells and pearls kind of mixed in here to create this design. It's not painted on. So it's a very, very beautiful design. And, you know, because it is like inlaid, you know, you do have some texture here. It's very smooth. It's finished beautifully. I love this brush. Now, I have to say, design-wise, I actually preferred the appearance of the oxen on this other brush just because, you know, I think it looks a little cuter, but for the way the design was created, this being like a Raiden technique, this one is more well done. Now, this brush here is an angled cheek brush. I don't have a ton of these, so I was really interested in the shape of this. This retails for $135, and this one is gray squirrel hair. And I have to say that since I got this brush, I haven't been able to stop using it. It's gorgeous. So when this came, it came in a box. Let me show you that. Unfortunately, I can't actually find the box. Somebody probably ran off with it. So anyway, it did come in a box. It was very nicely packaged, and it looks so beautiful that the first few days, I just kept it on my desk looking at it. So couldn't bring myself to wash it right away. So I washed it, and then once I used it, I haven't been able to put this brush down since. Some of my favorite applications with this would be bronzer or contour, as well as blush. I mean, look at how this glides across the skin. They say it's dense yet fluffy. I think that's a pretty apt description. You know, it's not a super dense brush in my opinion, but look how soft and how much it glides. So this really works well to put down powder products. You can also use this for powder. This could be an all over face brush. So I think this one is incredibly versatile. Let me show you a few other brushes of a similar shape for comparison. As I mentioned, I don't have too many brushes with this shape, and I actually don't have anything quite like this in my collection. Traditionally, with angled face brushes, I have most often seen them to be like a smaller size like this. This is the Surratt one, and you can see that's much smaller. It's better for target application, and you can see, although it does glide smoothly, it is not going to be quite as fluffy as the Akabeko. So I find this one to be more versatile because I really like using it for blush. I could even use the tip for highlight. I can use this for powder, and I can also use it to give myself like a nice contour, use it with some bronzer and so forth. So I find this one to be more versatile because of the size and the fluffiness of it. It's also incredibly, incredibly soft. Now, the Surratt one I feel is not quite as soft. It's also a little bit more dense, and you know, it's going to be better for targeted application. You can see the difference in size and shape here. So keeping the bristle or the ferrule at the same height there, you can see the difference with those. And I think, you know, this is a great brush. I love the Surratt angled cheek brush, but I don't use it as often as I use other brushes. Now, this here's the F04. Sorry, it's a little misshapen. I have been using this one quite a bit. This is my favorite bronzer brush for the Gucci bronzer. Anything that's more of that softer powder formula, I really love this particular brush for it. And it works beautifully. I can also use this one for blush and so forth. But you can see moving this, it's also soft and fluffy, but not to the same extent. I mean, look how much more movement you have with the Akabeko. So I think they are different. This one's gonna be a little bit denser, buffs the products a little bit more versus this one, which is really gonna give you that soft powder finish. So I have to say that if this one comes back, I highly, highly recommend picking this up because I just find it to be such a versatile brush. And of course, this Raiden technique is gorgeous. And I find this brush to be a bargain at $135. Not only are you getting a, unique to me shape, you've got the gray squirrel hair and you have the Raiden technique. All of those things combined are usually found in more expensive brushes. So I do think this is a great value. It's a beautiful brush. Now let me just show you some length or height comparisons. All right, so here we go. We've got the F04 in the middle. The Akabeko's all the way on my left, and on my right we have the Surat. So you can see the height difference with these. This one's definitely gonna be shorter handled. And just in comparison with a Sonia G, this is the Worker Pro eye brush. I just wanted to show you the standard height difference here. And you can see that the ferrule ends on the Akabeko is kind of right where it starts to get a little bit more narrow on the handle. Here is one of the Sonia G Kiyaki brushes. So we know that those are much shorter brushes, and you can see that overall our height is going to be pretty similar with this overall. Okay, and here is the Koyudo. This is the F03, which is discontinued, but they now have the F04, which has replaced it. It's very similar. So you can see that it is going to be longer than that. Now, personally, for a face brush like this, I don't mind shorter handles. I find it's really easy to get control. And with something this fluffy, if you want something a little bit more dense, you can pinch the bristles here to get, something a little bit stiffer. But I just think it just feels so nice on the skin and it works so beautifully. I've been using this pretty much every day for bronzer and blush. So I do have a little clip showing you my favorite applications with these, but again, you can use this for any purpose on the face. We're gonna apply the Gucci bronzer in Fair with the Koyudo Akabeko brush. I'm not sure if I said that correctly. So just got a little bit on here and let's apply this here. And I also want to show you how well this brush works with blush. This is the Chanel Rose Acre, which is number 68. And I'm just going to put that right above here. So this is a very soft looking blush. Maybe let me switch to something a little bit more pigmented for you. We're going to use the Spring, the Fleur de Printemps blush. So I'm just actually going over the blush and the highlight. There we go. There. And you can just, these can blend seamlessly together. This is a really, really great brush. You can also use this for finishing powder, setting powder, and so forth. But my favorite application is actually contour, bronzer, or blush. Moving on to the newest Lunar New Year brush from Beautylish. This is the one that Beautylish presented on its own, and it's part of the Beautylish Presents line. And typically they've been done with Chikuhodo. This year, they did not disclose which brush manufacturer they partnered with to create this. You can see the beautiful oxen design, and it basically goes all the way around. You pretty much have something. So I think this is gorgeous. Now, this is not the Raiden technique. And I have heard people, complain that there's not enough lacquer over the design and that theirs has worn off over time with previous brushes. I personally haven't had that experience, but I only purchased the one last year. The ones prior to that didn't really interest me. So last year we had the Year of the Rat, and they actually put this cute little mouse here, and you can see that my design, I haven't had any issue with any of it wearing off. It still looks great, so no problems with mine, but just so you know, that is something that some people have complained about. I've seen some reviews like online that have stated people having issues with that. Now back to this brush. This brush is blue squirrel hair. It's incredibly soft. Between this one and the Koyudo, they both feel, comparably soft. I can't really tell a difference between them. This is about how much give you have. So this one is going to be a little bit denser, a little bit, more firm than the Akabeko brush. It's obviously a completely different style. So we've got more of a rounded dome shaped brush, and you can see that this is not going to be a round ferrule. So it is slightly ovular here. And in comparison to last year's, it is different. So if you look, you can see that this one for the oxen this year is going to be more of an oval shape compared to the Year of the Rat, which was more round. So the actual brush head is also going to be a little bit different. It's like a little bit flatter. It's kind of like you've got two flatter sides here. And you can see that the actual shape of the top is going to be fairly similar, but the shape of the ferrule is different. So this is going to be a little bit wider here than the Year of the Mouse. Again, it's sort of like they have the same amount of bristles, but this is just a slightly rounder version. This was kind of flattened just a touch, but density wise, I think they are about the same. And again, the Year of the Rat one was actually done in collaboration with Koyudo, and that was advertised. Whereas this year, they did not disclose the manufacturer, but my best guess would be Koyudo. And I think the reason they didn't disclose this is to start drumming up some more interest in their new line. Beautylish is bringing out the Yano series, and this is part of Beautylish Presents. Again, they have not disclosed at this time what brush manufacturer they are using, but they are bringing out their own set of brushes. And I don't really have too much information on those yet, but we should be getting some information this week. I think they will be available possibly Tuesday of this week, if I remember correctly. So overall, let's take a look at this brush. I think this is a fantastic powder brush. I really like it to apply setting or finishing powder. Personally, I usually like to use my squirrel hair brushes more for finishing versus setting, just because the hairs are more delicate, and if anything is still a little damp, I don't want to disturb the hairs at all. So I often baby them, but they don't have to be babied that much. Now, another application, I really like this one for blush as well. For me, this shape isn't great for bronzer, but I like to use this for blush, especially if I'm using like a highlighting blush and I don't mind having like a large area swathed in color there. So blush and powder is my typical preference for this brush. And I do have a little clip showing you my favorite applications with this one. So I have a very light dusting of the Sisley Vita Poudre Compact Powder on my face, and I'm going to show you the Lunar New Year brush with the Chanel Fleur de Printemps for blush. So I'm just mixing the two shades together. It picks up product very well, and I like to just sweep it lightly here, and I think it just gives like a really nice sheen, and since it's more of like a highlighting blush mixed like this, I think it's a good amount of area covered. All right, so here's the blush applied with the Lunar New Year brush. And I wiped off the brush, and now I'm going to show you using it for finishing powder. This is the Guerlain Meteorites and Pearl Glow, and I shook the container to get some powder on the lid. Just going to get a little bit on the brush here. I like to stamp it on my face first, and then just kind of swirl it in. Now, if you want a more, I guess, lit from within type look from the meteorites, you want to use something more dense, something a little bit firmer so you can buff those in. But if you're looking for a light dusting, I think this brush does a nice job. All right, so back to the brush here. So you can see that height, size, and everything is going to be about the same for the two Lunar New Year brushes from Beautylish, the Year of the Rat and the Oxen. Again, the only difference is really going to be the shape, because this one's going to be more ovular this year. Now, some other comparisons. This is the Surratt face brush. You can see these are going to be about the same height as well. The ferrule you can see on the Surratt goes up slightly higher than it does on the Beautylish brush. But overall, the brushes are about the same length. Now, if you look at density and so forth, you can see that the Surratt has a little bit more flexibility here. It's a little bit fluffier versus the Beautylish one. And that otherwise, you know, they are similar shape. However, the Surratt is going to be completely round. And again, this one is more of an oval. Another brush that is more of an oval here is the F01 from Koyudo. And this one has silver fox hair, and you can see that the shape of the brush heads here is going to be much more similar than the others we have looked at so far. Now, if you actually look at the size of the ferrule and so forth, the Beautylish one is a bit wider, it's bigger overall, and height-wise, you can see that the Beautylish brush is going to be a little bit longer, and you can see that the ferrule goes up a little bit higher as well. So brush head, if we keep the ferrules the same, the brush head is just about the same size. The Beautylish one, again, is just going to be a little bit bigger overall, like going all the way around. So very, very similar with shape here. Now, fluffiness, the F01 is going to be fluffier. You can see it's a little bit looser, a little bit fluffier than the Beautylish one. And finally, this is the KZ1 brush. And this one, although it looks like it's a round brush, it's actually slightly ovular as well, not to the extent of the Beautylish. So you can see here that there are definitely differences in the head shape, just even in the curvature of the way the bristles are placed here. You can see that this one is going to have more of a you know, it gets a little bit flatter on the top, whereas this is going to be more completely rounded. Here it is from the side, and I would say size-wise, these are approximately going to be about the same width as each other. And the KZ1 though, again, since it's a little bit more round, it is going to be a little bit more dense. There are more hairs to this one. It's a little bit bigger overall than the Beautylish. Now, size-wise, you can see that the length and so forth is pretty similar, as well as the ferrule height and so forth. So the biggest difference is just that this one's going to be more round, and since they're about the same width, it's just that you're adding a few more bristles going the opposite direction. Now, this brush is also sold out currently on Beautylish, but again, they did restock the Beautylish brush last year, right around the Lunar New Year day. So hopefully there will be another restock of this. I did not see one of these Koyudo Lunar New Year brushes on Beautylish last year, something like the Akabeko. So for me, this was new. If it was there, I totally missed it. But I would definitely recommend picking up, you know, one or both of these brushes if they get restocked. I think both of them are a great value. You know, you get this really cute design here. You've got beautiful soft squirrel hair. Again, this is blue squirrel, and it works great as a powder brush. However, if you've already got really nice Fude powder brushes. It's not something that you need to have. And honestly, if I had to choose between the two of them, I would go with the Akabeko just because I think it's a little bit more unique. It's definitely unique to my collection. And I think it's great. But I think that both of these are great values. This one here with a little more, this one here is $125, whereas the one from Koyudo is $135. So I think they are both fantastic brushes. And if you look up similar brushes on like the Chikuhodo website, or if you look up something similar from Hakuhodo, you know, these are going to be more expensive for what you're getting. So I do think that they are a good value. Very happy to have both of them. I love both of these brushes. But again, if I had to pick one, I think the Akabeko is a slightly better brush just because this is more traditional. It's not as unique. I have to say though that I'm very happy that this is slightly different from last year's rat design, just because, you know, how many powder brushes can you have? And this one at least has a little bit of a difference with the shape here. So I'm very happy that they made a little change to the shape. I hope this was helpful, and if you've already picked these up, I hope you are really enjoying these brushes. And if you were kind of on the fence, I hope that these do get restocked. And be sure to check my Instagram stories for restock information. As soon as I see something, I will definitely be posting there. I am at Alexis Jong on Instagram, and I will see you soon. Don't forget to tune into Just Glow Firefly's channel for our live on brushes tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, or catch the replay over on her channel. Thank you so much and have a great day. Stay safe and healthy.